there. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins in for Julie Grant today. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. It is day 11 in the dueling defamation trials between former spouses Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. The Depp team started off with testimony from the chief counsel of the ACLU today. We've been listening together all morning long of this taped, as you see the date there, back in December, deposition. The reason, discrepancy regarding the amount that Amber Heard claimed to have paid to the nonprofit following her divorce from Johnny Depp, as well as the ACLU's involvement with helping her write that Washington Post op-ed, which ultimately led to Depp suing her for defamation. Let's go back inside the courtroom. On the stand right now, Terrence Doherty, still under direct examination.
Matters covered in the NDA.
And then isn't it also true that there were some at the ACLU who expressed their belief that excising those references to her marriage and divorce from Johnny Depp made the op-ed less impactful, correct?
It is correct. That is correct.
But ultimately, based on those voices, Ms. Heard pushed to get that excised material back into the op-ed so it could be more impactful. True?
That's not my understanding. My understanding is that the language that wound up in the final op-ed piece was very different from the original language that Robin included in the op-ed after having spoken with Amber about her personal experiences.
And how was it different?
It did not refer directly to Ms. Heard's relationship with Johnny Depp.
Okay, let's move ahead, please, to Exhibit 38.
Yes, sir. Stand by.
Mr. Doherty, have you ever seen this document before?
Yes.
And is this one of the documents you reviewed in preparation for your deposition?
Yes.
What does this relate to?
So this relates to Stacy Sullivan, who reported to Terry Tang, and her role with respect to this op-ed piece was to think about the best place to place it and to make the contacts with the media in order to get it placed.
And she suggests here that the outlets that the ACLU and Ms. Heard was considering were the New York Times, the Washington Post, Team Vogue, and USA Today. Is that correct?
So not Stacy, but Jerry, who I think you said she, Jerry is a he, and Jerry wrote some suggested places to place this after having had conversations with Amber.
And Jerry's suggestions were the New York Times, Washington Post, Team Vogue, or USA Today. Is that correct?
Correct.
Whose responsibility was to place the op-ed? Was it the ACLU's, Ms. Heard's, or some combination of the two?
The work to place the op-ed was taken on by the ACLU in that we have in our communications department people with expertise and who regularly do just that kind of work. But as we can see from this email, it was done in consultation with Amber Heard.
And Mr. Johnson writes, since the draft turned out pretty strong and Aquaman slated to do large numbers, I'm wondering what you think about it. What does she mean by saying the draft turned out pretty strong?
This appears to be the analysis of how broad-based and how what kind of reach the media outlets where we can place this will have, and that media outlets are more likely to take on publishing an op-ed like this if it is a strong one, and if it is, and to the extent that it is written by a public a person who's an entertainer or a well-known person, that the more they are in the public eye at the time, the more likely it will be accepted by a more prominent or broader reach media outlet. And so that's the sort of descending media outlets are in descending terms in terms of descending, likelihood of, descending importance and reach, but greater likelihood from, for example, as we go down that list.
And Amber's referencing her own direct personal experience, and her marriage to Johnny Depp makes it a stronger product, correct?
I think that the Amber's contributions to the portion of the op-ed that talks about personal experiences is part of what informed the view that this was a strong op-ed, and the importance of the women's rights issues referred to in the op-ed, in that some of them were very timely women's rights issues before Congress. And
Ms. Heard had a co-starring role in Aquaman, correct?
I don't know whether she was a co-star, but I know that that was a film that she was in.
And didn't she tell the ACLU that she wanted the op-ed to come out just after Aquaman was released?
I do recall that there was a conversation about the optimal timing for the op-ed piece.
And as part of that conversation, Ms. Heard said in words or substance that she wanted the op-ed to come out soon after Aquaman, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Who did she relate that to?
I don't recall, although I believe that there's documents that we produced that can shed some light on that.
Is Exhibit 38 kept in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business?
Yes.
Was it prepared by people with knowledge and prepared in a contemporaneous manner?
Yes, it was.
And it was made in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business, true?
True.
Okay, if we could move ahead, please, to Exhibit 41. This is another one of these, well, it's not that long.
Yes, sir. Stand by.
Mr. Doherty, have you ever seen this document before?
Yes.
What is it?
These are further communications among employees, staff members in the development department regarding the placement of Amber's ad and the finalization of the op-ed piece. Not ad, I'm sorry, op-ed and the finalization of it.
Great, and if we could move ahead, please, to ACLU 257, and specifically the email from Robin Schulman to Jessica Weitz on December 11th, continuing on to the next, or strike that. Let's go to the email on the last line, Jessica Weitz's email. She says, team.
What's the timestamp? What's the timestamp on the email that you're referring to?
I'm sorry. This is December 11th email at 11:05 a.m.
Okay.
From Jessica Weitz. You see that? Okay. And she says, Amber sent back the op-ed with final edits from her legal team, which specifically neutered much of the copy regarding her marriage and the domestic violence. You see that?
I do.
Is that consistent with your recollection?
I'm not sure about the use of the term neutered here, but I do know that her lawyers removed references to her marriage and divorce.
And then she writes, the goal is to get this out this week to capitalize on the tremendous campaign for Aquaman. What does that mean?
That means, from the ACLU's perspective, that Amber is about to receive an incredible amount of press and be in the public eye. So what better a time would it be than now to put out this op-ed so that it generates significant readership about our issues.
And Amber agreed with the ACLU on that point, correct?
I believe the answer is yes. Every step of the way we were making these decisions with Amber's PR representatives involved.
Okay, let's move back to an email in the middle of 257.
Okay.
And it is from Jessica Weitz, time-stamped 11:09 a.m. on December 11th, 2018.
Okay.
Robin, her lawyers omitted the below, but Amber would love to see a way to have that part in bold somehow put back in. Is there an artful way to do that? Otherwise, she is okay with the final. 2 years ago, I sought a temporary restraining order from my then husband. Ellipsis was changed to 2 years ago after successfully acquiring a temporary restraining order, but still not cleared by her lawyers. Do you see that?
I do.
Was that consistent with your understanding about what Ms. Heard's desires were?
Yeah, I trust Jessica White's relationship with Amber so that when Jessica told Robin that that was something Amber wanted, I have no reason to think that that's not correct.
Okay, and finally, let's look at the beginning. The first email, Exhibit 41, from Stacy Sullivan to Jessica Weitz, says, yes, and I need to read the latest version. And Robin told me Amber's lawyers took out some of the stuff that made it really powerful. So let me look to see if I think it's strong enough for top tier. What did she mean by top tier?
I think from Stacy's perspective, the more powerful a document is, the more likely it will go into a top tier news outlet such as the New York Times or the Washington Post, you know, that sort of descending tiering that was in Jerry Johnson's email.
Okay. And is Exhibit 41 kept in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business?
Yes.
Was it prepared in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business by people having knowledge and done so contemporaneously?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's move.
Well, we're learning a lot about the behind the scenes of an op-ed, aren't we? And much more about this specific one. We're going to get a break in here. We'll have more testimony right after this. Stay with us.
There are three statements that we respectfully ask each of you to focus on. Statement number one, quote, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. Statement number two, 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. Statement number three, quote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. He wanted out, which drove her to make up a story that was designed to recast herself as an abuse survivor, with Mr. Depp as the alleged abuser.
That's Benjamin Chu talking about in his opening statement the op-ed written by Amber Heard. Well, let's be honest, written by a bunch of lawyers at the ACLU and her team as well. And that's the subject of today. Let's go back in.
Doherty, have you ever seen this document before?
Yes.
Is this the online copy of the op-ed that the ACLU placed?
Yes.
Directing your attention to the title, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. Who came up with that title?
Based on my investigation, I'm not aware of I'm not aware that the ACLU had any role in writing the name of the op-ed piece. And my understanding of how op-ed pieces work is that it is the media, in this case, the Washington Post, would have drafted the name of the title of the op-ed and not the person who wrote the op-ed.
Did the Washington Post seek the ACLU's or Ms. Heard's approval of its title?
I believe the answer to that is no. There's nothing in the evidence that shows that they reached out to us to do that, and it is inconsistent with my understanding in that these news outlets do not usually ask for the permission of the author of the op-ed for when they come up with the title.
Hello, Mr. Doherty. Would you please, or would the technician please call up Exhibit 45?
Yes, sir. Stand by.
Mr. Doherty, have you ever seen latest Exhibit 45, which is Bates number ACLU 623?
Hold on, I'm just making it a little bigger. Okay, yes, I have seen this document.
And is this one of the documents you reviewed in preparation for your deposition?
That's correct.
And what is it?
This is an article that was in US Today and specifically ties Amber's statements in her op-ed piece to Johnny Depp.
And when Jessica White says so much for not mentioning JD, what did she mean?
I speculate that she was saying that there were significant efforts made by Amber's attorneys to take out the references to Johnny Depp and her marriage, and yet nonetheless, people made that connection.
And in particular, the reporter for the USA Today took her to be referring to Johnny Depp when she spoke of being the victim of domestic violence, correct?
Correct.
Was this document prepared in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business contemporaneously by people having knowledge?
Yes, it was.
Is it maintained by the ACLU in the ordinary course of business?
Yes.
And would you please move ahead now to Exhibit 46?
Yes, sir. Stand by.
Mr. Doherty, have you ever seen Exhibit 46, which is ACLU Bates number 1287?
Yes.
What is it?
This is a statement by Robin Schulman saying that that the article that they're referring to basically, recasts everything that is said, but ties it to Johnny Depp.
So Ms. Schulman is agreeing with Mrs. White's characterization that the USA took Ms. Heard to be referring to her allegations of physical violence by Johnny Depp, correct?
Yes.
And she says it's kind of amazing that they just grabbed the entire op-ed and rewrote it using Johnny's name. Why was it amazing?
I don't know why she found it amazing.
Because that was consistent with your understanding. She was referring at least in part to Johnny Depp, correct?
Based on my review of prior drafts of the op-ed, I knew that there were that she was referring to Johnny Depp and her marriage.
Was Exhibit 46 prepared in the ordinary course of business by people having knowledge contemporaneously?
Yes.
Was it maintained in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business?
Yes.
Okay, let's move to Exhibit 59, please, which is Bates numbers ACLU 2614 through 2616.
Okay.
Have you ever seen this document before?
Scrolling to the beginning. Yes.
And what is it?
This is a conversation among ACLU employees regarding what were the amounts contributed to the ACLU that were connected to our relationship with Ms. Heard.
And is this Exhibit 59 kept in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business?
Yes.
And it was prepared contemporaneously by people with knowledge in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business, correct?
Correct.
And looking at the chart on ACLU 2615, this is the same contributions chart that you testified about earlier from Salesforce, correct?
Correct.
And again, as in the prior exhibit, this chart or ledger does not reflect the $100,000 contribution from Johnny Depp in Amber Heard's name in August of 2016, correct?
Correct.
And you still can't account for why that wouldn't have been included?
We assume that there was an error made in not including that in Ms. Heard's account, where we keep the records of her in Salesforce. Although Anthony, as you see, then raised the very question, what about the $100,000?
And directing your attention to the first page in this exhibit, do you see the email from Mr. Romero to Mr. Moresco? Subject, a quick question. Mr. Romero asked, did Elon's other gifts come from Vanguard? To what does that refer?
My personal knowledge is that Anthony was just asking whether other gifts from Elon Musk had been issued from recommendations he made to Vanguard regarding his donor-advised fund at Vanguard.
And Mr. Moresco then responds, one of them, yes. His $5 million gift in February 2017 was from Vanguard. Do you see that?
I see it.
And if you look at the next page, Vanguard was the same entity that made the soft credit contribution in Amber Heard's name to the tune of $500,000, correct?
Correct.
And he says, in any case, my understanding was that the $500,000 from Vanguard was recommended by EM. Do you see that?
Yes.
And EM stands for Elon Musk, correct?
Correct.
And also in that email above that, Mr. Moresco states that Mr. Musk's $1 million gift in May 2018 was from Fidelity. Do you see that?
Yes, he must have, either that means a separate donor advised fund he has at Fidelity, or...
We need to slip in a break. More testimony when we return. Stay with us. Doherty is the chief counsel for the ACLU, and we've been listening to him all morning long, being questioned by Johnny Depp's attorney on direct. Let's go back in.
What is it?
This is Jessica White's reaching out to the communications department in order to come up with a correct statement that we could make in response to the Reuters article. And she comes up with recommended language on this that she then wants to confirm with our development department. So she is doing diligence to ensure that anything we say to the media is going to be correct.
All right. Let's move ahead to Exhibit 63. Do you have that in front of you?
I'm just making it larger right now. It just arrived.
You ever seen this document before?
Yes.
What is it?
This is back and forth between Richard Tyler in the communications department, Jessica White's, and another communications department junior person, Ava Lopez. And it all concerns what we can say to, what we should say to Reuters in response to their question about Amber and her contributions to the ACLU.
And this was prepared in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business, correct?
Correct.
And it was prepared and maintained in the ordinary course of the ACLU's business, true?
True. Correct.
Let's look at the second page of the exhibit, an email from Tyler Richard to Jessica White. Mm-hmm. Who is Tyler Richard?
It's Richard Tyler, and no, it's Tyler Richard. That's right, Tyler Richard, and he is a senior person in our communications department.
And Mr. Richard says, Amber Heard is an ACLU ambassador for women's rights since 2018. She also pledged her full settlement to charity. Do you see that?
I do.
And Ms. White's response, yeah, I think that's safer. I had nightmares about this last night. I'm very upset. Do you think this is okay? Why was Ms. White so upset about the characterization of Ms. Heard's charitable donations or lack thereof?
My understanding is that as a communications department professional, Jessica was concerned about these news articles that were appearing and what impact they would have on, how the ACLU and its work with Amber is seen.
She was concerned that the ACLU was not telling the truth about Amber's paying the $3.5 million, correct?
I don't see it that way. I see it as her doing everything she can in order to produce a correct statement to the press.
Wouldn't the correct statement to the press be that she's short $2.3 million?
As I testified earlier, that's not the kind of thing that we would ever say about a donor to the ACLU. Instead, we would, especially when it isn't the fact that there was any specific time period by which we were supposed to have received, any specific amount of money, considering that she didn't sign the pledge agreement, and therefore, there's an attempt to, so as an organization, we attempt to work with our donors who are having financial difficulties in order to receive, the funding from them that they want to give to us. So no, I don't see this. I don't know. We would, in that sort of scenario, we would never say she's short anything.
Directing your attention to the email at page number ACLU 1700.
Okay.
From Ms. White's to Mr. Richard, dated July 31. She says, I'm just stressed about her and the difficulties with all this. Who is her?
Assume that is Amber Heard.
Why was Ms. White stressed about Amber Heard?
Because this is a stressful thing to have these kinds of news reports out there and in particular about an ACLU ambassador.
What kind of news reports are you referring to?
What I believe the Reuters article, from the Reuters article.
And what did the news article say that was distressing?
I think it was the tie between the attempts to make Ms. Heard look poorly in the press regarding her donations.
But did you talk to Ms. Weitz in preparation for this deposition?
Yes, I did.
What did she tell you about the donations and how she was stressed about Ms. Heard?
Ms. Weitz didn't say anything specific about that.
You didn't ask her about why she said she was stressed about Amber Heard and the difficulties with all this?
I believed in reviewing the documents that I had an understanding of why this was a difficult situation for many people.
So the answer is you didn't ask her about that, did you?
I did not ask her that question.
I guess we'll have to. Did you ask her about the nightmares she had about Amber Heard and why she had what the substance of her nightmares were about Amber Heard?
No, I did not.
Your Honor, counsel for Ms. Heard is now taking over the questioning.
All right, thank you.
Exhibit number 1, this is based down 2866. It was introduced as well by counsel for Mr. Depp. But
All right, that was the direct of Terrence Doherty, the chief counsel of the ACLU. Now we'll hear Amber Heard's side as they question this lawyer as well. That's coming up.
Made like no other.
Welcome back. So far this morning, we have learned a few things about the op-ed that was published in the Washington Post in 2018. First, that the ACLU helped craft that op-ed with Amber Heard and her team. We learned through Terrence Doherty, the chief counsel of the ACLU, also that Amber Heard pledged $3.5 million, but is $2.3 million short at this point, citing financial difficulties. This we all learned during direct examination. Now let's go back in live for the cross. Elaine Bredehoff is asking questions on behalf of Amber Heard.
October 17, 2016 to ARP. Who's that?
That's Anthony Romero's private email, Anthony Romero private.
All right. And she's telling him to go ahead and it's all right to cash Mr. Depp's check. Do you see that?
I do.
And then Mr. Romero responds to her, says, thank you for the response. We will cash the check. But that means you have, quote, overpaid for this year as you wired $350,000 and then the $100,000 from Mr. Depp. So you can keep track that where you are on the overall amounts. Do you see that?
I do.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as deposition defendant's exhibit number 14, and it's base stamp ACLU 2588 through 89. This is, and I realize there was a version of this that Mr. Chu showed you, but this includes an email from Mr. Romero to Jonathan Moresco, and then Mr. Moresco to Mr. Romero with a copy to Mike Weir. And it says here, hi, Anthony, if you get a chance on Sunday, can you please check in with Amber on her next pledge payment? She has a balance of $2.55 million on her $350,000 10-year pledge. Below is a summary of her other payments. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. And so this has the $500,000 and the $350,000 and the $100,000 on it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that was September 28, 2018. I'm going to show you what has been marked as defendant's exhibit number 15. It's base stamp 2595, and I'm going to make it larger. And if I can show you, we have an email from Mr. Romero saying, is there anything I can do to help facilitate pledge payment of $350,000? And it's dated November 27, 2018. Do you see that?
I do.
All right. And then Amber comes back on 11/29 and says, hang on, I'll be right with you. You see that?
Correct. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, and then the $350,000 payment came in on December 11, 2018, correct?
Correct.
All right, and that made a total of what, 1.3 million we've decided, right? What was the total amount of the donations after the 12/11/2018 that were made towards Ms. Heard's $3.5 million pledge to ACLU?
1.3 million.
All right. Now, if Ms. Heard had just given $350,000 each year, what would the amount have been as of December 2018?
1,550,000. It would be 350,000, 350,000, 350,000. So that's 1,050,000.
Okay, and so she was effectively 250,000 ahead of that as of December 2018, correct?
Objection.
After Mr. Depp filed suit against Amber Heard on March 1, 2019, what, if any, payments did Ms. Heard make to the ACLU towards her $3.5 million pledge?
No additional payments.
No, this was also shown to you by Mr. Chu on one of his documents. And it's ACLU document 3037, the 12/11/2018 $350,000 designation donation from Amber Heard Anonymous. Do you see that?
I do.
Now, the ACLU continues to recognize Amber Heard as an ambassador for the ACLU. Is that correct?
We do. She continues to be listed on our website.
May a donor deduct a donation before they actually make the payment to the ACLU?
No. Yeah, a deduction cannot be taken prior to when the deduction is made. A deduction is taken with respect to a tax year, so the deduction would have to be made within a tax year in order for it to be deducted that year.
Okay. Now, you also testified earlier about different sources of donations, and you said that someone can make a donation in honor to fulfill someone else's pledge. Do you recall that testimony?
A person can make a donor in honor of someone else. And when I said in honor of a person, I was more referring to, in memory of a person or in honor of, a new executive director of an organization. People make donations in honor of them. But a person certainly can make a gift and say that I would like to make this gift to the organization because I know that this other person has committed something to the organization and I'd like to pay that amount. A person can do that.
Now, was it your understanding with the letter from Mr. White that Mr. Depp was making a $100,000 payment on behalf of Amber Heard towards her $3.5 million pledge?
Yes, that gift from was in connection with the amounts that Amber had said that she wanted to contribute to the organization.
All right, and it's been your testimony, I think, that there was an error in not including that in your sales force. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, is it also your understanding that Elon Musk made the $500,000 payment towards Amber Heard's $3.5 million pledge?
Yes, we don't know that with absolute certainty, but that is our organization's understanding.
Okay. And you credited it towards Ms. Heard's pledge, correct?
Yes.
Does it matter to the ACLU where it comes from if it's tagged and said it's as part of this person's pledge?
We're always happy to receive funds from donors, and if a donor is unable to make a contribution of an amount that they said they intended to make, if they're able to have someone else make a contribution to the organization, that's completely fine by us.
It's still more money to ACLU, correct?
Correct.
And it's towards a pledge that you're hoping you can count on, correct?
Toward a pledge in the weak form of it, which is that somebody's making an intention. It would not be able to be satisfied in connection with a legally binding pledge.
Well, you did credit the $500,000 towards Amber Heard's pledge, correct?
Yes, we did.
And although you didn't initially credit the $100,000 payment by Mr. Depp towards her pledge, you agree that that should have been credited towards Amber Heard's pledge as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, we saw a document that Mr. Chu showed you a short while ago that indicated that Elon Musk made some other significant contributions, including $1 million and $5 million that were separate and apart from the $500,000, correct? Is that
correct?
Okay. Now, Mr. Chu asked you if the ACLU benefited from the fact that Amber Heard pledged or donated the $3.5 million. And I think your answer was that you benefit, whenever there's donations made and the publicity associated with it. What, if any, benefit would the ACLU have had if Amber Heard pledged or donated $1.3 million as opposed to $3.5 million?
If I understand your question correctly, I think that it is always a positive thing to report on donations made to the ACLU.
Mr. Dougherty, you testified to a number of documents about the op-ed and the back and forth with the attorneys and everything else. Are you aware of any evidence at any stage of the op-ed drafts through publication that Amber Heard did not rely on her counsel's advice?
From what I know, Ms. Heard involved her attorneys and made changes to the op-ed based on the advice of her attorneys.
And so my question is, are you aware of any evidence that would suggest that Amber Heard did not rely on the advice of her attorneys?
Based on my investigation, I'm not aware of a situation where she did not rely on her attorneys.
Thank you. And I'm going to make a reference to their exhibit number 31. This is, it's just called Exhibit 31, and Mr. Chu put it down. Jerry Johnson was writing an email, and he listed a number of topics. Was it your understanding that the ACLU chose a number of those topics, of course, subject to Amber's approval, but it was their idea on some of these issues to address in the op-ed?
My understanding is that those were ACLU issues that Jerry Johnson came up with that might have been issues that could be covered in the op-ed.
All right.